founder of
Okay,
Colored.
so you try to, okay, I see. So you try
No,
to,
I think that
uh,
part, right, is good to say during the introduction. So when you say how you got into blockchain technology, so you can say working in Microsoft and meeting, for example, Flavin, who works for Colored Coin, and then
You can talk about Colored
we
Coin.
can talk about Colored Coin as well at the very first start.
Then
so
I'll
it's
ask
more
you
of
what's
how like
Colored Coin.
how
Yeah.
like he's part of your team, and like together you guys build Artblock together, for example, something like that.
okay.
Yeah. So I think that part is quite interesting because as a pioneer and a starter in Colored Coin, if one of your as in then we can explain more about Colored Coin technology, which leads to our second question as well when we talk about blockchain 1.0 to blockchain 3.0.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ideally, I can introduce because in the first you're going to flash that slide that have me and
Yes,
Flavian.
me and Flavin.
So ideally, I just after I give a brief introduction of myself, I just immediately jumped into the Flavian story.
Yeah. So one of our other colleague, very outstanding guy, who also helped Artblock to build.
Yeah, the Colored Coins.
Like
Right. Yeah. So I get a little bit confused when you're asking me. So what are your team experience and what?
Something is after that.
I'm just trying to stay modest to say, hey, sir, it's important to think creatively, not just to build the experience.
Yeah, I think the last few questions was like also share with us your team, because your team is made up of so many people. Everybody has its own strengths, and other than Flavin, you can talk about the strengths of the other people who help to build Artblock, and why you think that because of all their participation, it would be the A team, you know.
And like, for example, how many years of experience they have in the blockchain industry, or even, for example, even if some of them come from advertising industry, you can talk about how we have all these experts from different industry, which makes Artblock like what it is today. Or you can have some more quotable moments about how, for example,
like they stay back very late, they're very dedicated.
I think it's more of like the people makes Artblock what they are today. So for example, we think people is very important. So yeah, just give some of your like feedback on your team, for example. Yeah. And then the next question.
Okay, the next question. I'm gonna just talk about.
Yes.
Maybe you wanna share with us about your design principles.
Yes.
Okay. So as Artblock as a platform for develop the applications, I think it's really important to let the consumer users be able to use blockchain technology. Right. So today the blockchain concept is very popular, but if you really get into try to it, you will find it's probably for 99% of people.
Yeah, it's not user friendly.
Yeah, it's not user friendly. So to be able to make blockchain as a really fundamental thing for everyday life, it's critically important to make the user experience good. So that's actually one of the key problems that Artblock try to solve. So in Artblock's design principle, there is we put performance, the response time into the count. So that is to say, if there's a design that we have to trade off between the user experience and the other part of the system, we're probably going to pick to make sure the user experience is good.
And the performance is also important. So the system is also built on open standard, and can you elaborate more on that?
So the system is open and standard. There's I think at least there's from two different angles to see how it's open. First of all, for example, we have this open chain access protocol. So basically, it's kind of an abstract layer of the blockchain. So it's open. So that is basically to say anybody can contribute, and anybody can contribute and extend this protocol, and anybody can implement adapters or other blockchains to use this protocol, right? So the other openness part is ecosystem. Basically means different players can join this ecosystem without others' permission. So if you have great components, if you have great apps, and you can just jump into this ecosystem and you become one of the key players here. So as we mentioned in the white paper, so Artblock, our team to build this Artblock, we are trying to just kickstart everything. We're not going to build a platform and control it. Instead, we're just going to kickstart the platform and encourage more developers to build together with us.
I think that's really important, right? It's not to reinvent the wheel, but really to get everybody on a wagon together to build extensions to make it better.
Exactly. So sometimes when I explain what the arc block exactly is, so sometimes I say if you treat all these kind of different chains as different wheels, but in fact the consumers, they do not actually need the wheel, they don't need the engine, but what they need is a car, right? So the car need to put together different wheels, different engines, and some of the low-tech stuff such as the chairs together to have the car. So arc block platform is actually try to building a car for the developers to easily put together all different kind of wheels and engine together to create a great experience for the transportation, right? So that's kind of explain what we are.
Wow, that's a great analogy. It's a very good example to help us understand ArcBlock better. So Robert, can you share with us on ArcBlock's roadmap and development plans? Is there any other bigger plans for the next 2-3 years or maybe the 5 years down the road?
Yes, so we are a project that is actually we write the white paper many months after we actually implement the first prototypes. So when we write the white papers, we actually think really carefully about how can we actually implement it. So that's basically to say we feel there's actually no engineering or technical risk to build this system, but instead we just need a lot of time and effort put in to actually create everything we plan to do. So our current plan is we're going to have the first client, first partner and client that build on top of the ArcBlock system, and hopefully they can release the first application built on top of ArcBlock on the second quarter of this year.
Can you share with us who they are, or it's sensitive to reveal their name now?
So we are planning to have a big announcement in April. So right now I cannot release their name, but what I can say is we're going to starting from the education industry.
Wow.
So instead of the finance, we actually picked the education, and we believe that blockchain can play a very important role in the education.
Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities and potential.
Exactly. So a lot of people, whenever they think about a blockchain, a cryptocurrency, they always think about the finance.
Yeah.
But actually, in the education, I think this is a very good space that we could potentially disrupt what we have right now.
And you mentioned about your office opening in Shanghai. I think in Shanghai, that's where the education industry is booming.
Yeah, Shanghai is a city that there's an article talk about Shanghai missed the internet age and they should not miss the blockchain age. I think right now you see in Shanghai there's quite a few great startups there working on the blockchain technology, and we believe that in Shanghai we can potentially join the team to boost the blockchain and the cryptocurrencies industry there.
Wow, sounds like ArcBlock's future is really promising with lots of exciting projects and activities. Now, maybe you can share with our viewers more on the vision of ArcBlock, and what do you foresee it can help to change in the whole ecosystem or the landscape?
Yeah, I think the ArcBlock vision is more light on the vision of the blockchain itself. So I believe the blockchain is a fundamental infrastructure that could potentially change a lot of business model, and it could either empower the existing business or kind of fundamentally change the way how the business is working. So to achieve that, it needs a lot of applications, right? So blockchain, the chain itself, is just a kind of an infrastructure to fully release the power from the blockchain itself. It needs a lot of applications. So ArcBlock have the developers to be able to focus on their business need, and so they don't need to worry about the details of blockchain itself. Instead, they can focus on what they can improve for the business.
Yes, I think if you can improve your business, it means increase productivity, increase profits, increase revenue, and that's very important for all businesses. So once again, thank you, Robert, for sharing with us on your baby blog. I think it's really, really very promising, and we're really glad that you are able to share all these insights on the latest developments. And maybe before you go, you'll have to say something to all our viewers.
Yeah, so thanks a lot for a lot of people to listen to this live streaming, especially in this today that the market is doing really bad. Like I guess everybody knows that. But I think that is actually this is a great opportunity to talk about the fundamental. What blockchain is really means. What blockchain really means is use the technology to change the way how the business running, how to make it more efficient, how to bring the trust to different parties. And I think our blog, what we are doing is we actually didn't care too much about what the market is changing. Instead, we put probably 100% of the time to work on the foundation of the software.
Yes. Wow. Okay, thank you, Robert. Wow. Okay, 太棒了。你讲到这里的过后，我就会 wrap up. And again, thank you for joining us. And remember that you do not need to key in a UID to participate in AdDrop segment. All you need to do is simply do so after the announcement nearing the end of the Huobi Talk. Now, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask Robert about Upblog, he'll see a chance. But we say goodbye to him already. You still ask people to ask questions.
No, say goodbye, but then after that is...
Robert will still answer the questions.
Yeah. As in, we say thanks, Robert, but we haven't like shut down the screen yet. So after the questions, then we will say thank you so much, Robert.
Okay. So, Robert, before you go, we have some more questions for you from our viewers. Let's take a look at what they have to say. Okay, from 123, he has a question. Dear Robert, can you answer XYZ? Okay, so you answer... Thank you very much. And yes, wish Upblog all the best. And thank you so much, Robert.
Yeah, then,
thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Bye, Robert. Yeah, so from there, we will that will be the end for you. But then after that, our host will wrap up the Huobi Talk.
Okay, it's a very attractive person.
So that's the main basic flow. But I think we need to go through the flow again, especially with the PPT slides. So, Robert, would you prefer us to go through again now, or for us to take like a quick break?
So, but before I can go back, is that possible for you guys to fix the screens? So
actually for the WeChat, right, you can actually you can click the link now. The live stream is on already. Yeah, so just check.
So it's different, right? So it's different, right? So that means. Okay, so it's a different one. So,
so just let us know if you can see the screen properly. If so, then we will start from.
Somebody can help me with the prompter to the front.
Is it working?
Hold on a second, because I need to type into. Finally, I see something. I see somebody's face. Yes, but I can only see.
Have a quick chat with him. I will just confirm with him on the slides.
Hi, I see you.
So we start from, and now let us welcome our guest speaker. So we start from the start where we ask you the first question, but let me just check with the team regarding the slides.
Okay, just hang on a minute. Okay. Now it's PowerPoint. He can see us now, but just now you couldn't see us. So
yes, I can see you. I can see. Looks like there's a couple second latencies.
Yeah, and that should be fine. It's just a lag, you know.
There's a couple second latencies. So I guess
there was lag in the video, and then there was like some cutoffs a few times. So
flash the screen, if that latency, I probably will see that after a few seconds. So that could be the problem.
Can you see him? Can you see Ethan?
I can see Ethan. Okay, so now I can see. I can see you.
Yay! 我看到了，刚才是 black screen。
这个 latency 还是蛮大的，对吧？
对吧？
所以我就是说，如果你在 flash 这个至少我在挥手，至少可能已经。
Hi Robert, so we will start from the start now, just to go through the flow. Yep.
对 our latency is about maybe 2-3 seconds.
Okay. And then we can see the screen as well, so you can see the slides that will be showing. Yep.
Mm. Okay, so we're glad to have with us today our guest speaker from Uplock, and Mr. Robert Mao is the CEO and founder of Uplock, and he's a serial entrepreneur and innovator, having founded tech companies and worked with Microsoft Research before starting Uplock. So let's hear from Robert, straight from the horse's mouth. So director, please connect us to Robert, please. So connected. Hi, Robert. Hi, can you see us?
Starting.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Wow, I'm good. We look good as well. Would you like to say hi to all our viewers who are watching you live right now?
Hi, everyone. I'm Robert. It's very nice. It's my pleasure to be here to discuss with you about our blog.
I think first and foremost, a lot of viewers are very interested to know who you are. So maybe you would like to give a condensed version of who you are, what you do.
So hi, I'm Robert. I'm a founder and CEO of ArcBlock. And before I worked for ArcBlock, so I worked for Microsoft Research. And I specifically worked on social computing related research. And before I joined Microsoft, I actually started 2 startups in China.
Wow.
And one worked for the voice over IP, the other worked for the social computing, social media. Yeah.
Wow, voice over IP. What's the in thing then? So
Yes.
you also have a partner?
Doing broadcasting here is hugely based on the voice over IP technology.
Yes.
Yeah, but
It is still the in thing, you know. Okay, so Robert, I also see from the PowerPoint that we have, other than you, there was somebody who was the chief scientist. Would you also like to elaborate on who he is and how he sparked you to start on Uplock?
Yeah, Flavian Flavian is our chief scientist. Actually, Flavian was my colleague back in Microsoft Europe. At the time, he was a star in the team.
Ooh.
And in
I'm sure you're the star too.
2 stars.
We got 2 stars.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, at the time, he's a much more shining star than me.
But you're also a
I'm
star.
just somebody, but he's a star. And
So
Flavian, in year 2014, Flavian quit Microsoft and started working in blockchain technology. He is one of the very pioneer who creating the colored coin. And he's also one of the major author of the Open Asset Protocol, which is a critical protocol for colored coin. So as a lot of people might know, colored coin is the first blockchain 2.0 applications.
I was going to ask, what is colored coin?
Yeah. So colored coin is a very simple concept. So the colored coin concept, I think, is coming around the year 2013. At the time, there was a crash of the Bitcoin. So there are a lot of people who are in the Bitcoin become to thinking, if the Bitcoin cannot really deliver the promise of being a new peer-to-peer currency, but it's a brilliant idea. Can it do something other things? So the colored coin concept is basically like you divide the Bitcoin into many, many small amount, and then you try to attach some kind of structured data with those kinds of small amount of Bitcoin. So then that small amount of Bitcoin becomes something not just to represent the money, but it also represents the data itself. It takes all those advantage of the Bitcoin itself And in addition, you can use this kind of structured data to represent a lot of things. For example, you can represent a certificate, represent a share, represent anything, right?
So can I just say
like
that it's something similar to like currency? I mean, just it can be used in many industry, but maybe like in a form of finance, it's like currency. So instead of maybe $100, you can break it into colored coins, which is like we have the $10 with the $5, got the $2. So it's how the concept for colored coin works.
Yes, color coin is pretty straightforward concept. So you basically take advantage of the currency itself. But adding some additional stuff onto it. But again, because this is a very simple concept, some more advanced technology. If you have ever read the white paper from the Ethereum, in the Ethereum it mentioned it has one of the biggest, one of the inspiration it come from is color coin.
Ah, now we know better. Oh, thanks for the little education. I think it's really great because our viewers can learn more about the whole evolution. And also, Robert, can you share with us more on ArtBlock? So we mentioned early on how you met Flavian, and we also mentioned where you have been working before. And I guess this helps to pave the way to build ArtBlock. So what was the inspiration behind how it happened?
So ArtBlock is a platform to help the developers to build blockchain applications. So interestingly, when we started to build, so we didn't intend to immediately build this platform. Instead, we're trying to starting with the application itself. Okay. But during the build application, we realized that there's a vision and the reality. The vision of the blockchain is great. It's so exciting. However, when you really need to build something, you find there are so many things that is not ready yet. So our team, we started by just to try to fix all those problems by building this kind of framework for us to build the application better. But during the phase, we talked to different other teams and we try to collect the feedback from them. We realized that the problem that we hit is actually the problem that almost every team hit. So the people are not that interested in the application we're building anymore. Instead, they are always interested in, hey, how can we use your platform, use your framework to do this? So, as a startup, we need to stay agile and move fast. So we quickly switched to 100% focus on the framework itself. And so that is how ArtBlock is coming to be.
Oh, I totally agree. Sometimes it's all about solving the needs and solving the problem and giving the solution of what people need. So ArtBlock definitely is able to help all these developers solve some of their problems. So instead of reinventing the wheel, right?
Exactly. So you see, there's so many different kind of a blockchain, different public chain, different solutions over there. So first of all, it's good to have to reinvent the wheel because you always need to have that's how the innovation come from. But however, from the second part, from the another side point of view, and if you keep reinventing the wheel, you keep repeating the problem again and again.
Yes.
So that's a lot of time wasted. Right?
Yeah.
So for ArtBlock, what we decided to do is we're not going to reinvent the wheel. Instead, we're going to work together with all those wheels. And because in the world, there's a lot of problems to solve. To be able to build a great blockchain application, you not only need the blockchain, the chain itself, you still need quite a few other components. So that's how ArtBlock position ourselves.
Okay, I think it would help a lot if we have some sort of PowerPoint to see how ArtBlock works. Like, why is it a 3.0
yes, exactly.
version?
Yeah, let's show the slides, and I can explain that better, maybe with some kind of structures. I think we missed the 1.8 to 3.0 here in the case.
Yep. So we can see the simple blockchain 1.0. It's really for just simple ledgers, low speed transactions. And then we've got a blockchain 2.0, and this is the blockchain 3.0.
Yeah, exactly. So blockchain technology has been there for over 10 years. So So the first generation of blockchain represented by Bitcoin. So basically, it's a simple ledger that records transactions. What it does is basically those kind of blockchains, they're specifically designed for cryptocurrencies. We have introduced a little bit of the color coins. The color coin probably represent the first blockchain's 2.0 applications. That is basically use a blockchain to have structured data to do something that other than the cryptocurrency itself. And Ethereum come in, and the Ethereum bring the smart contract. And so basically they have the smart contract, which is the code, together with the transaction in the ledgers. So that makes makes the blockchain 2.0, which is something that other than the cryptocurrency. And so for blockchain 3.0, what it is. So can the director flash the slides?
Yeah, it's up now.
Yes. So for blockchain 3.0, what I'm thinking is the blockchain go to the mainstream. So to be able to make the blockchain to the mainstream, it need to be a lot of new factors need to be added in. So I think the first thing is it need to be user friendly. So normal users, they should be able to use a blockchain. And also for the blockchain technology, I think a beautiful technology should be beautiful and invisible.
So does it mean that you want to improve the user experience? So it would be good if it's like web-based or it's like mobile. It is better. This is what the blockchain 3.0 is all about.
Yeah. So I think, for example, hold on a second. So for the blockchain, so there's somebody trying to come to my. Yeah. So for the user experience part, it's pretty important for the new technology to be able to be used by general public. So today's blockchain is not ready yet. Yeah. If anybody who ever tried to get some cryptocurrencies, they were dealing with the wallet, dealing with the public address, private key. All of those are not ready for the public.
So okay.
Yep.
So they're not ready. So Upblock offers a solution that might help to speed up the whole user experience. And I think Blocklet is a core for Upblock. Would you like to share with us what Blocklet means and what Blocklet is all about?
It's a microservice framework, and hold on. So there's some latency. So the slide didn't show up yet.
It's okay on my side.
When we ask this, right, we can be like, can you elaborate more like on how Upblock operates?
Okay, so finally it's here.
Yeah. So when you say so now I will elaborate on more how Upblock actually works. So director, can you flash the slide please? And then we will change to this slide. So you will say, so firstly, one of the important points is the open chain access protocol. So what is it all about? Then from there you can explain more about so what exactly is Upblock about, because it's quite technical. So we need more explanation here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can start then.
Yeah, so the Open Chain Access Protocol is actually solving one of the almost one of the very first few questions that any developer when they get into the blockchain development, which is which blockchain technology should I use? Right? Should I use Ethereum? Should I use Bitcoin? Should I run the Ethereum in a private mode? So just because there's too many choices, right? And sometimes even the developer itself, they have no idea. There's no standard yes or no answers. They need to figure out what is the best end-layer chain technology to use after they really get into understand the solution better. Right? So the problem right now is if you decided to use one kind of a blockchain technology, you kind of bind to it. So that is not what the developer want to. So that's why we created this Open Chain Access Protocol. So essentially, Open Chain Access Protocol is an abstract layer of the blockchain. With this abstract layer, the different blockchains can adapt to this layer with the component we call the chain adapters. And then with these open chain access protocols, the application on the top will no longer need to bind to the specific lower level chains. And even better, they could have the application that talk to multiple different blockchains. They could also potentially switch the layer chains without hugely change the code in the application side. So this brings a lot of flexibility and to make it easier to develop for the developers.
Thank you for the explanation. And wow, we're seeing a lot of activities in our chat box. So wow, Robert, a lot of people have been asking questions. Okay, before we answer the questions,
right? I think there are more slides.
Are there more slides?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 2 more slides.
Yeah, so you can say like next, please. So yeah.
So
yeah. So next slide, please.
Yeah. So blocklet. So you can.
Yeah. So the next slide is actually the blocklet.
Yeah.
So blocklet is a really critical part of the Arc block. So what essentially blocklet is, it's a framework that is optimized for developing blockchain applications. And we take advantage of the microservice architect. So the microservice architect is actually, you can just imagine it's for full service, it's divided into many small services. And each of those small services, it probably do one thing, but do it super well. And the blocklet is this kind of is a microservice that is built with a framework. With the blocklet, it makes the developers much easier to consider how to develop blockchain applications. And also, we have quite a few reusable components developed with the blocklet. So when application developers they try to build a full application, they don't need to reinvent the wheel again and again. Instead, they can just reuse whatever we have built.
Okay.
And the blocklet itself is an off-chain computing architect. So that is to say, blocklet itself is not running on top of the blockchain. So that basically to say you can have the access to the other resources like a file system, like your original, like a database system, and it can also treat as a gateway for you to access your old system, existing system. For example, if you have a deep learning system, is a blocklet to be as an interface to bridge up the blockchain world and together with the old software world. So with the blocklet, so we bring the best flexibility and also the best practice we have to help the developers to develop full applications.
Sounds
and,
awesome.
Yeah, with that, can we show the next slide? So that show a real big picture of how we imagine
the overview,
the future.
Yeah. So here's the overview.
Mm-hmm. So you see, this is an overview of the high level. This is the high level overview of the Arc block. So as you can see, from the end layer with the open chain access protocol, we will be able to support multiple different blockchains. And in the future, we're going to support more blockchains. And best of all, it's not the best of all based on our open standard and architect design. So you don't need to wait for us to implement the new blockchain for open chain access protocol. So anybody can add any other new blockchain into it. And so in the middle part, which is the key part of that's the blocklets. So we already have a bunch of blocklets that built for reuse. And also the other developers, they can contribute the blocklet for you to reuse. So our goal is try to be able to bring more developers to work together and to form this kind of marketplace of blocklets. And so there's a lot of components for the developers to pick from. And the up layer, we have this called the EasyCom PubSub gateway. So this is basically an API gateway that is connecting the blockchain world to the app side. So the app could be a web page. It could be a web application. It could also be a mobile application, and it could even be something that run on IoT device. So that's a whole picture of how we painting the future of the decentralized apps.
Wow, looks like you have the whole blueprint. Thank you for taking us through the Uplock high-level overview. And of course, it gets a lot of our viewers very excited as well. So meanwhile, while you're presenting the whole mechanism behind Uplock, we actually have a lot of our viewers on our top chats. They have some questions for you, so let's answer them. Let's go over. So we're just going to read some questions, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so... Okay, so remember to participate in the airdrop segment. You only need to do so after my announcement and nearing the end of Huopi Talk. And if you have any questions to ask Robert on Uplock or simply on Huopi Talk, shoot right away. Okay, so having said this, let's take a look at some other questions that we have. So we pick some more and we just answer from them. And now for those of you who will be watching this live stream, just to update on this airdrop, share this live stream now to get more airdrop tokens together. So check out the rules. Today we have a very attractive prize pool of up to 20,000 Uplock ABT and 4.9 million engine. And this is our EGCC and Odyssey OCN tokens up for grabs. So remember, we can only make this possible if we work together. So everybody has just to share the live stream at www.youtube.com/HuopiPro/live with all their friends and family members. And remember, if you hit the top tier stands at 2,000 live viewers and more, of course, you will get more. Yes. So let's take a look at our number of viewers right now. Wow. We have
196.
196 of them waiting to catch Robert. Okay, so yes, you can click the button share on the bottom right of the video. At the end of the show, I will update you guys on the actual number of viewers and whether we hit the pool target and how many airdrop tokens you'll be getting. And remember to just drop your Huopi UID at I Love Headaches to qualify for the airdrop pool tier once we hit it. Okay, remember, not now, but later at the end of the show, upon my announcement. Okay, so now back to the questions for Robert. So Robert, what are the competitive advantages of Uplock as compared to the competitors both in blockchain as well as Ethereum and traditional world? I think this one he answered already, so we just skip it. So this is the flow.
Explain flow, and then the next question.
The next question. Then he'll say that it's not so much of a competitor. We work with them.
So the next question is sharing more about your team.
Yeah, sharing more about your team and experience and why you think your team has got what it takes to succeed in this industry. And next question is, can you share with us Uplock's roadmap and development and also like design principles? Okay, so we're going to say that. So finally, please share.
Do you actually have a list of these questions? So maybe I can put aside with me, so it will be easier for me to predict what you're going to ask.
We send the question on Skype later. Yeah, shortly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you finalize that, so then even in some case, if the connection is not great, I don't need to ask or repeat the question. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be good.
Yeah, so share with us your vision for Uplock and for the blockchain industry. What do you see blockchain technology in the next 5 years? Even though you said the market was bad, it was bad. So yeah, then we come to the end of the questions for Robert, and we can't wait for all the exciting plans. And yes, seeing so many activities, remember to keep your chats coming, your questions coming in the chat box, and remember, do not drop your UID. Okay, so now if you have any questions, here's your last chance to do so, to ask Robert. Okay, so share your questions now. Let's take a look at the questions we are having. So Robert, feel free to pick out some of the questions from our chat box.
Yeah, so like at this instance, right, like when Charlene is talking, it's a good time for you to just like scroll the chat box so we can get some questions out even before this, so that it's easier, because sometimes the chat keeps flowing. So whenever like Charlene is speaking or like announcing on the airdrop segment, then it's a good time for you to sift through if there's any questions. Yeah, and then we can just during these parts, then we can say, oh, NG asked this question, so blah 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 blah, then answer. Yep.
Okay, so
Yep, that sounds good.
Yep.
After answering all the questions, thank you so much, Robert. Thank you for joining us. Well, any parting words for our audience? And you just yada.
So,
Thank you, Robert.
bye.
Wish you all the best.
Yeah. So now
He
we'll
fade
continue.
off.
Yeah. So then we will just.
It's
continue.
time for our final update for
Yeah.
Huobi Talk Special Airdrop Giveaway.
Yeah. Again, and then this is the final one. So you need to say like, so we would announce that we have hit which of the pool target.
Okay.
So please drop your UIDs on the chat box now.
Now.
Yes.
Okay.
So it depends. So you can see how many viewers we have. And also if we don't have questions or too many questions, you can say, I think
It's
that's
so
enough
interesting.
questions for now.
It's so interesting. You guys forgot to ask the questions. Okay, so
Yeah. Or like if we have too many, for example. So we can say, if you have more questions, you feel free to
ask more than one question.
No, also ask Akblong on their social media channels. Like if, let's say we have no question or too many questions. Yeah, so each segment we keep it to around answering max 2 to 3, 3 to 4.
Okay.
If we have more, then it's more of like, oh, please feel free to comment on Artblog or Huobi Pro's Twitter if you have more questions, and our team will answer you there.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's need to control a bit as
Okay,
well. Yeah.
can. Thank
you so much. Yeah, so now I think
Yeah.
we kind of got the flow. So
Yeah. You need to send questions to him. And I need to on the volume. Yeah.
Touch up as well.
Yes, I need to.
Then,
Shh.
yeah, and anyway, this one can adjust even louder. So
Yeah, just now I was like, 听不到，听不到，听不到。Sorry. Can? Okay. I think you're going to toilet. You can see everything.